Time for another Soccer Down here 1v1, and I will readily admit this one's kind of cool. The Duluth FC and the NPSL, they got new owners. One of them happens to be somebody that you might have seen hanging out in the winter, competing for his country, winning medals, including a gold in Pyeongchang. John Shuster. Skip, thanks for coming on for a 1v1.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to get more into the soccer community, man.
Oh, and I wanted to ask about that. I mean, I know that Duluth was up for sale, and being the pride of Chisholm, Minnesota, and being Duluth Curling Club, this one was close to you. You weren't a soccer guy, from what I understand. Growing up, curling was your thing. How did you get involved in soccer in Duluth, Minnesota?
Well, it's kind of a funny story because soccer wasn't my thing. I think it would have been, but we didn't have it. My city was so small. In the fall, we had football and cross country. There wasn't soccer like there was in the rest of Minnesota. So, um, but yeah, I was a huge sports fan though. I've always followed kind of everything Minnesota, and I was just talking to my wife, but a friend of ours does some hosting of players from our FC when they're coming in here, as part of the host family program. And in 2019, she put a post out there on Facebook that said, "Looking for a couple more host families." And I said to my wife, "Looks like we're hosting soccer players, LOL." And I could say the rest is history, but I was allegedly in China when this happened, curling in the World Cup event over there. And by the time I got home, there were three soccer players living in our basement. So it came on fast. But truthfully, from that day when those guys moved into our house, seeing what the soccer community is and getting much more engulfed in it. My kids both play; they're 9 and 7 years old, and they played travel soccer last year on a 9U team, and we've fallen in love with the sport and the people, much like we have with curling, with the sport and the people.
I was going to ask, and you went into it a little bit. The fabric. What does soccer mean to the fabric of Duluth from what you've been able to discover in this very short period of time?
I think my other co-owner Alex helped form our original like select travel soccer program for youth back in 1991, and I know it goes back even further than that, back to because we're a port town and had a lot of European immigrants, and I know they played soccer, kind of organized. Like Gino Palucci, who's famous for the frozen foods in town here, had a team called Gino's Jets that used to go and play regionally and compete, and so I know it's been part of the fabric of Duluth, and we've had some pretty darn good high school teams around, and but that's just it. Like in 2019, when we decided to host players, we had no idea that like Duluth FC even existed, and there's a lot of people in our town who don't yet, and that was part of my excitement for coming on board with the ownership with Alex, was to hopefully boost the fact that we exist. And every person we've ever taken to a game, they can't believe that we have that level of soccer in our city, available to our communities. And we're just, trying our best to get it out there, because I know, like, not even selfishly, because, I mean, we're not looking to get rich on owning a soccer team. We want to advance, the game and really, the culture that the game has and the NPSL has. And it's really exciting to be a part of, hopefully helping that growth.
And I know that, we all have our to-do lists. And this is a question that I like to ask new owners, whether it's an expansion team or a new owner, like in your situation. We all have our places with our to-do lists. It could be a phone where you pull out your stylus, you write something down, you jam the stylus back in the Word document, you put your phone down. Could be on the fridge at like 2 o'clock in the morning when you're going down to get water. You have an idea, you write the idea down, you put the dry erase marker back, you go back upstairs, you go to bed. Could be notepad, could be, wherever. Where is your to-do list for Duluth FC? Is it on like a big, there it is, right there. And as we're looking at this.
Yeah, I was speaking for a thing at the University of Wisconsin Superior for some intramural and rec sports association, and got this nice little leather bound notebook that has, since I got that, we've got this thing going. And yeah, I'm starting to fill this thing up.
So what do you think the next thing is that you can cross off of all of these documents that you're putting together? Because folks will sit there and say with the NPSL season, oh yeah, it's like May and June, and yeah, everything's cool. But no, it's like May and June, and we got work to do. What do you think the next thing is you can cross off?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things, but last night I was invited to a staff meeting because that's one thing that we have up here, and that was, we purchased the club, but we're not reinventing the wheel. We had our coach who is planning on being here and sticking around for a while, and we have our title sponsor on the center of our jersey is St. Luke's that's been with us that continued that partnership, and our general manager who does all that day-to-day stuff. So but like tomorrow, him and I are going and meeting with somebody like just for like merchandising stuff. And we are trying to always increase, we have an amazing marketing team that does our social media, which we have a huge social media following. So those guys are working their butts off. And last night, we were talking about how we can make our, stream maybe get into 4K this year. So I think those are the next two things on my list here. But finding, you know, businesses and companies and that want to, partner with us and really, I think fan experience is very high on my list. I'm sponsored by Allianz in curling, which is obviously the stadium down there in Minneapolis where the Loons play. And I know from being at a game last year doing a coin toss, what that means, like what the word experience means and how much that means to the sport of soccer. So fan experience is also something right now at the top of my to-do list to make sure when people come into our stadium, they're not just watching, 90 minutes of some really good soccer, but that they're also getting those extra things that, go into being, at a soccer match.
Do you ever have days where you sit there and go, man, this is fantastic? And then like a half hour later, do you sit there and go, man, what have I gotten myself into with doing this?
Yep. I think I was on the plane coming home from Phoenix yesterday from a curling tournament, and I was just rifling through again my notepad, throwing ideas in there, and then the staff meeting was popped up that I was going to be able to make it to, and I got there, and when I left that place, I'm like, I have no idea what goes into that, but that's what makes me, so excited that we have a great group of people who are, that have done this for a number of years and have the process down. Because I know how great of a product they've put out before I was involved on any more than a host family level.
And at the same time, I know that there are tenets in business and in coaching. And I guess with you being a new co-owner of a franchise, one of the phrases that has always stuck with me in organizations is surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. And when you have folks who know soccer, they've done the stuff, they know the day to day, having that knowledge base helps really everything go forward, and it doesn't disturb the continuity of what you're trying to build there at Duluth FC at the same time.
That is 1,000% correct. That's one thing that I told the people, even our staff and people associated with is, we're gonna come in there and have ideas or do something out of order, and just like for them to make sure that they let us know that maybe they would like to do something a way, or they've always done something this way and this is why, that it's going to be a learning curve. So yeah, we have a bunch of really really smart people in all these different aspects right now, and going out and finding how to bring more people in to help them, whether it be through internship programs, we have a couple of great universities in town here that have sports marketing and journalism programs and that kind of thing. So yeah, we're just trying to make this go great. And to be honest, I think the community growth outside of just our team and seeing kids at the game and out running around, on the field at halftime, those are the kind of things that I look forward to, is just seeing more and more of that than we've had. I mean, it's grown every year. To keep growing that part of it is great.
How would you like to see, since you mentioned growth, let's go there. How would you like to see this franchise and the sport continue to grow and expand? Because if I remember correctly, last year the team finished second in the conference, made it to the first round of the playoffs. This past weekend, there were a couple of players that had some time with Duluth FC that I got the chance to call the game for in Chattanooga, Tennessee, for trialists trying to further their careers. How would you like to see this grow and evolve over the next couple of years to where everything expands and Duluth FC becomes the center of the footballing universe?
Yeah, I mean, I got chills hearing you talk about that, and I would like to, after we get off here, find out how you evaluated Caleb's performance, because he was actually one of the people living in my house that I hosted.
Really?
Yeah.
It was
So
Caleb.
yeah,
It was Caleb and Kostya where they got a cup of coffee at the end of the match. Chattanooga FC and
yep.
Atlanta United. So they got a cup of coffee toward the end. And so, yes, offline, sir, we will discuss what happened with your trialist. I mean, what's it like to have that kind of a thing happen now that we're talking about it? It's like you got guys who are trying to further their careers. What's that like to hear about?
I mean, I think that to me is one of my most important things that I can bring in because, when Caleb got here, he was coming here to play soccer, and we had somebody, the other um, player that we were hosting that year, had been with us for a full year, and I think saw the whole experience and what it could be, along with being a big brother to my children, kind of thing, and kicking the ball. We got two nets, so we gotta have a full side yard here that they can even play, full length field out there. Um, and really bringing that joy piece in there and seeing Caleb grow throughout his time during the year here. And I have, outside of soccer, I have a lot of high level, sports psychology training from being part of that. That I can actually, that I feel, even if I can just foster and unlock some things that maybe, players haven't found yet, or help them guide them along the way. Like those are the kind of things that I've been able to do with the players who are living, in our household through our host family program, but to be able to also help. And so then to see that translate into Caleb having two incredible seasons at Christian Brothers after that, and now getting a drink of water with Chattanooga and playing against Atlanta the other day, and we've had somebody else, same kind of thing. I I absolutely look forward to the day, and I know it's not going to be a long time from now where that my kids will be able to purchase an MLS jersey of a player that played at Duluth FC, and I look forward to that day for sure.
And at the same time, you mentioned almost, I'll call it a big brother aspect, where you have those players that can bill it with you or be there in town as a part of the process. And with your experiences on the worldwide level, you can put your arm around them and sit there and go, okay, hey, I've been through this. And it's almost like you're adding counselor to co-owner and just that extra set of ears and eyes that you have to help these guys get to those next steps in their career.
Yeah, I've taken that really very seriously with the players that have lived in our household, to be, a consultant for them in their sporting journey, because I've taken the same sporting journey, right? Like, yeah, they're playing soccer, I played curling, but a lot of the things that you're doing off of the playing field are all similar things that you go through, like those thoughts and those processes. And I've found some great ways and had some great people around me that have helped me do that. So being able to do that, not just for the ones, that we're hosting, but now, you know, reaching out a little bit further and increasing that reach on the team by being an owner and somebody who's going to be around all the time. I'm looking forward to that too, because in curling now, I'm getting kind of old, 40 years old. My career is not going to last forever. It can go a long time
Yeah,
in
come
curling,
on. Yeah, it will.
but that being said, like I've taken in the last couple of years, kind of starting to see, okay, like how can I help bring in the next group to do the same thing or more than I've been able to accomplish, and really embracing that with our youth national program and under 25, and even after our last Olympic trials win, like having super long conversations with the skip that we beat in the final, about ways I think that he could improve his game, and now seeing he's ranked 11 in the world and we're number 18. So yeah, it's exciting and scary, and you know I like being able to help where I can with the things that I've learned, because I haven't worked very much in my life outside of curling. I'm a stay-at-home dad so this will also give me something to do day to day, which now my kids are in school, I have some time.
All right, time to cut the promo. And thanks for doing this. This has been really cool. For those that want to keep an eye on what's going on with you and Duluth FC and the NPSL, how do they do it?
Duluth FC has it's a tremendous Twitter follow, to be honest. Our group there does it. So Twitter, Instagram, they both do stuff. We have DuluthFC.com. We stream all of our games, I think, on YouTube, and yeah, and me, same thing. I try to keep some profile on Twitter, but Team Shuster is a better follow than John Shuster on Twitter. But that's yeah, Twitter, Facebook, we're all there, and try to keep people updated. Next week, our national championships are out in Denver, and all that'll be streamed as well. So whether you go to USA Curling or Team Schuster, there'll be some links to watch us battle it out for a national championship.
Looking forward to it. Co-owner Duluth FC, John Shuster. Skip, it's been fantastic to have you on for a 1v1. We'll definitely be keeping an eye what's going on up there. And I'm going to go ahead and give you golden ticket status here at Soccer Down Here. You want to crash the party at any time. You want to wander in on the morning show and sit there and go, hey, I want to talk about soccer or I want to talk about curling. You officially have golden ticket status on the network. Thanks for hanging out for a 1v1.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to that golden ticket.